Welcome to Spirit of Madikwe, Africa's Majesty. We're going to take you on a journey to a real safari.
All right, guys. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Madikwe. Today we have a very special episode. Not just you see Arthur and myself in person on the video. We were actually planning on doing it live, but yeah, sometimes things changed. But yeah, it's very, very exciting. We have talked about this a little bit in the past. We gave you some hints about things that we see kind of strange and going on. And yeah, we want to talk about now what we want to do about changing the tourism industry. And here we go, Arthur.
Well, guys, it's good to be here, and it's good to finally show our faces. So exactly. So everybody's seen the news. Couple of very interesting things happening. We've had tourists killed in national parks over the last couple of weeks. We've had lions hit by vehicles over the last couple of weeks. And it's just getting to a point where something's got to give, something's got to change. And if it takes us to step up and try and do something about it, I'd rather try and not succeed than just sit back and watch everything go sideways.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you guys have already realized how we are planning on doing our safaris. We coined the term, as Arthur mentioned it, immersive safaris. So we are really planning on taking you into the nature to really have you experience nature. But we kind of realized during the past few weeks something is missing there. So it's not just, we cannot just take you where everybody else goes, and we cannot just do like everybody else does. So we decided we need some kind of a base. And Arthur, what do you think? What would such a base look like?
Well, first of all, most important part, completely off the grid. We want to run it. We want to work in conjunction with nature and not destroy nature. So it would in the perfect world, it would be either a very small tented setup in the middle of nowhere, or a repurposed place that we can rescue damage that has already been done.
Okay, so what you're saying is basically we either find a place where we can kind of non-invasively sneak in our lodge, or we find an existing lodge that we can actually repurpose the way that we want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, if there's everything has been done there that is so invasive, the electricity connections, the water connections, all of those things, we've got an opportunity to go somewhere where massive damage has been done and remove all of that. We have more sunlight than most countries. And on top of that, we're blessed with generous winds no matter where we go. So there's no reason why we can't run an entire lodge base safari camp off solar and wind energy.
That will be one of the key points, actually, that we say, okay, we will be independent from the grid. We will use solar power. We will use wind power when possible. And the cool thing is, and that's the other thing I think, Arthur, you're very, very excited about that. I mean, you can run a lodge from energy or from batteries, but what else can you run based on a battery?
Oh, I see where you're going with this one, Matthias. This is my the one that's got me rubbing my hands in glee. We need to switch over to EVs.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the routes that's been shot down a lot in the tourism industry. Everybody always talks about infrastructure.
Mm.
I think on doing the research, we found out the infrastructure is not a problem. You can recharge that vehicle off a solar station, its own dedicated solar station. It is overnight, and the average EV gives us a range of about 250 kilometers, where the average morning safari or afternoon safari or even a night ride is only 27 kilometers. Now, with the way we do things, the immersive safari, I think 27 kilometers is being overly generous, because it's about more than, everybody advertises become one with nature. And yes, that's an incredible part of going on safari, but there's more to it than that, because people tend to focus on what they see with the eye. And sometimes we have to step away from just the visual observations and add on to that.
Mm-hmm.
The important thing is that we get people to use all their senses. We want people to get involved and hear and feel. And on that point, I had a wonderful experience a couple of nights ago where we drove into an elephant herd in the dark.
Oh.
And the elephants here is not the most hospitable bunch.
Mm.
But it worked out fantastically. I was close to the herd. I just said to the guests, listen here, guys, we're going to switch everything off. That spotlights everything. And all we could see was the silhouettes in the moonlight.
Wow.
And they were literally all around us. And it's this amazing experience hearing the rumbles, one calling, one answering.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing the branches break, hearing them feeding. That's just as much a part of as taking a fantastic photo of an elephant for your photo album. In fact, I think it's more special because it's something that words cannot describe. You cannot explain it. And the funny thing is, the guests that was with me were South Africans, and they've been to almost every national park imaginable. And yet I had a gentleman, a retired gentleman, when we stopped, say, man, that was awesome. And it's true. It's one of those moments that words can't describe it, and there's no way you're going to take a photo of.
This is an experience that you'll take it with you. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing, and that goes back to our motto, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take only pictures. Let's take only memories and leave leave only footprints. So I believe that the EV route is generally the way to go. I just want to highlight some of the points that why I'm so excited about the EV. Not just the fact that we are going to be carbon neutral, but or as close to carbon neutral as we can get. I don't think in today's world anybody can be 100% carbon neutral, but as close to it as is humanly possible.
Yeah.
And
we have to start the change, right?
That's it. We got to get things going. And the thing that gets me is, there's stories I heard in the industry, and the honest thing is in Africa we need a vehicle with power. The power is unparalleled. Yeah. And then the other thing is, I don't know if for people who's been on safari or who's watched anything to do with safari, a ranger's favorite trick if you see an animal in the distance is you pick up a bit of speed, and then throw the car into neutral and the engine off. And you
Mm-hmm.
do all of that to get the silent approach. You know, when I started guiding in electric vehicles was not a thing. That was the gold standard, a silent approach. And anybody still wants to have that silent approach where you can enter an animal's space without disturbing the animal.
Mm.
And it suddenly becomes possible. And it's
Yeah.
not going to be on a sighting where you happen to be uphill from the lion
Mm.
and you can roll in. It's going to be every sighting. You know, the biggest problem we have, and what I'm really excited about, is on night drives.
Mm.
You know, nocturnal animals, the guys we really, really never see, the aardvark, the aardwolf, the pangolin, those type of animals, they most of them rely on hearing to keep themselves safe.
Yeah.
Around with a diesel engine guzzling, yeah, that thing's gone miles. You're still miles away, and he's already getting out of the area because he knows you're coming.
Yeah.
So the fact that we can sneak up just on night drives is going to be phenomenal.
This being on like really tiptoeing around the animals. The cool thing, and the other thing that I think we discussed also, is you can approach, as we just discussed, elephants. The car is always on standby, so it actually adds to safety, because sometimes, you know, elephants get a little bit grumpy, so you do not
Yeah,
even need to
exactly.
wait to switch on the car. Go. Yeah. So that
Exactly.
adds to
That's
safety. Yeah.
that's another thing. You know, I mean, that standing there dead silent, and you put your foot down and you go. And that's the important. That's very important. What you the safety aspect, because we've always had situations, especially with elephants, where the elephant starts approaching the vehicle, and with the vehicle you have to cut off, where you're going to say, okay, if he crosses that line, I'm going to start the engine. And if I start the engine, 90% of the time the sighting's over. Because either you startle the elephant, starts getting aggressive, which is understandable because you basically a big green thing that's growling at him. You know, the sighting is over in the sense that the elephant will now not approach any. Plus, another big thing that I feel very about the fact that we all know that elephants communicate along the ground. You pull in there with a 5-liter engine idling, all you're doing is you're basically shouting them to death.
Yeah.
You know, so all of that adds up. The electric vehicle is going to make these safaris describable.
But this is only a small part of it, right? I mean, we will have a fully solar powered lodge. We will have an electric vehicle. And now what we are going to do is we will fill you up with food. Yeah. But
Yeah, do it in a different way.
exactly.
We,
So, and
we've
this is
we've got
another
a we've
part I
got an
think you,
important
yeah.
we've got an important thing to add. Yeah, so you know, it's fantastic. I've been around the block in the industry, and it's always funny for me when people go to, you know, people go on holidays to explore cultures, and a big part of another culture is the cuisine. I mean, you go to Thailand, you eat street food. You want to try all those things because that's how the local people live. You go to India, you have a curry. You don't go to India and ask for filet mignon. It's just not done. But somehow on the safari industry, that's become kind of the standard, where we've got these luxury setups. In these luxury setups, they try to turn the dinner time into a 5-star Michelin experience that belongs on the Rouge in Paris. Africa has got an amazing array of 13. If we just talk about languages, we've got 13 official languages.
No.
Out of all those different peoples, how much fantastic food we have that's floating around here.
Oh yeah.
And somehow people never get to enjoy it. I mean, I'll never forget the first time we met, Matthias, when we were standing at the coffee stop and you were complimenting the rusks are so good, and I was like, "It's not a rusk." You know, that's a very hard cookie, roughly based on a rusk.
Yeah.
A rusk is a big thing your oma baked that doesn't fit in your mug.
Okay.
You know,
These chunks.
it's in coffee all in one. Yeah, so you know, and also the thing is, you know, if you think about it, what do South Africans do everywhere we go? We braai.
Yeah.
And we've got we can probably put together a cookbook with food made on a braai. And yet always give people the standard braai with a piece of horse and a piece of steak. I think we need to get more traditional. So yeah, we're talking about South African portions, which is already a conversation on its own. We look so good because we eat so good. And
so just a reference, you guys. Arthur took the liberty to really braai for us, and wow, I mean that was an amazing evening. Like I think I didn't eat for another 2 days after that, yeah, because it was not just the main dish, the steak, for that matters. It's the starter that is brilliant. It's the dessert that just the dessert, it just fills you. So this is an experience by itself already. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know. I want people to come. We want to come to our place and experience South African life, and part of that is a big tradition for us is dinner time. And you know, we need to bring those local values and cultures to the people and share it with the people. I mean, friendships are made over food. And
Yes.
I think this is a saying that is used by a lot of places, but I think we really want it to be true. We want people to arrive as guests and leave as friends.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Is, you know, we want to build a family of conservationists.
Exactly. Really doing this, and this kind of intimate experience, because just because I think we haven't really said it, this lodge or this place that we want to have, we won't have a lot of people there. So I think we will have probably 4 to 5 rooms. So tops 8 to 10 guests, and that will be the absolute maximum. So we tend to cater for families or groups of friends. So that will be the ideal setup that we think will work the best to have this kind of experience. So we will not have this huge lodge where a lot of different people with a lot of different expectations and backgrounds will come. We will have a more intimate, more like a familiar setup. So we will really all sit together around the table. We will have the food. We will discuss the excitement of the day, and yeah, that's how we think the setup shall be.
Yeah, you have to do the chat around the campfire at the end of the day. That's a prerequisite for the African experience. And then the other thing that you pointed out now that I'm glad we get a chance to raise is kids are welcome.
Yes.
We don't want to be one of these places that sorry, kids can't go on safari because they actually enjoy it and they talk about the stuff that they see and they get excited.
No, that's not good.
We want that. We want to see that. The importance, yes, remember we're trying to do something for the future of African wildlife. And the future of African wildlife lies squarely in the hands of our next generations.
Definitely, yeah.
And we need to educate children from a young age. So I hear so many stories about, just the other day I met a couple who explained to us that their youngest daughter is now 8 years old, and they waited for her to turn 8 before they came on safari because there wasn't a lot of places that would accept them as a family with a young child. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I would. It's much easier to get a child of 4 to fall in love with Africa than it is to get a child of 13 to get it to fall in love with Africa.
Yeah.
And once you get a child to fall in love with nature, you've got a conservationist for life.
Yes.
You got somebody who's going to take that can and throw it into the recycle bin, not because there's somebody told them to, but because they understand why.
They understand why. Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. We want people to participate, and we want the education. I think the best line to describe it is education, conservation through education.
Exactly. No, I think that's the best way of doing it. And I mean, yes, there is reasons why some places do not accept children below a certain age. That is because they have this cookie cutter kind of safari. So they put like 10 people on a vehicle and off you go. And obviously then with a toddler, that's not really something. But if you cater to an experience, you can also do it with a 2-year-old or with a 1.5-year-old. I mean, we did that already and it worked out brilliant. You just need to do it the right way.
The biggest reason for kids being considered a problem on safari is, so now I've got 2 honeymoon couples and a couple with a 3-year-old on the same vehicle, and I end up in a situation where we can still go and look at the lion. We just can't look at the lion from 10 meters away. Because the reality is lions are predators, and children that cry tends to be a distress call.
Yeah.
And that tends to get them a little bit excited. Now, first of all, you don't want to get the animal excited for nothing. And second of all, you don't want to put anybody in danger. But if you have a complete family, then there's many a way to skin a cat and get everybody out on the experience. I mean, in your case, Matthias, we simply did another drive a bit later on with the bamboo note. And that can be done. You can have an adult drive in the morning or in the afternoon, and you can have a kiddies drive. And there's plenty of things to entertain children, and to teach them, and all of that. So, very important that kids are welcome.
Absolutely, yeah.
That people without kids are not welcome, but do understand this project is for everybody. And when we say everybody, we mean everybody, regardless of where you're from, who you are, and how old you are.
Yes. I think this is also something that we want to stress, that age, it doesn't matter, be it 0 to 199, because I do not want to cut out at 99. There's people that are older. And disabilities obviously also won't be a problem. We will design the vehicle in a way that everybody can enter it. That is a design that we are going to do because we really want to support everyone to be able to experience and see nature the way that we just described it. So that is definitely something everybody is welcome that understands and sees this value of what we are doing.
Yes, and the I think the important thing is we have to stop using these animals for tourism at their own detriment.
Mhm.
We need to shift our view and say, at the end of the day, the type of tourism we want to do should support everything around us, and that includes everybody from the local community to down to the lion that we have so much fun looking at. It's important that everything be, well, the magic word sustainable.
Yeah, it's stressed
know,
very
if,
much,
if
but I think if you get to the bottom of it, and if you not just use it as a phrase, and you really think it through, yes, that's what you have
yes,
to do.
I think it's a way overused phrase these days, because there's a lot of the things that I sometimes read and they say they found a sustainable way to do this, and then when you go look closer, you're like, okay, so it's just the old way, just in a different t-shirt.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, the fact that we want to take everything off grid is already a massive thing, because and yes, we're most probably going to end up on a where there is power lines,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how things are structured at the moment, and where the new kids are showing people that it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. And please don't get me wrong here. I'm an engineer, so I'm a physicist. I'm an engineer, so I love technology. So the thought that I had and that I implanted into Arthur and that he gets totally excited about is that we can achieve this through the technology that we just described. Yeah, using EV powered game viewers, using solar powered, using windmill power, whatever kind of way we can generate energy. And we build the house in a way that it works like that. And we do not need to go back into caves and deindustrialize completely. We just need to define a way, and this is the way that we are going. We want to keep the standard that we have. I mean, we just spoke about the cool lodge, we spoke about the cool food, we spoke about being in nature, but having the convenience that we also have at home, maybe even a little bit more because yeah, you're on vacation and you want to have a little bit of luxury. But that's the thought, yeah.
I think the convenience is going to be a little bit more than what people have at home.
Yeah,
At home, you can't sit and watch the African animals walk past
exactly, yeah. And that's the idea, right? So and yeah, I think what you just said, because you said it like a couple of minutes ago with the child that throws away the can because it learns how to do it. I mean, we do not want to throw away cans because we do not want to have cans in our lodge. We want to have low waste at all. So we will also have ways of using food, making food, having everything around us without generating too much waste. There will be a little bit waste that you can't totally avoid it, but we have a concept defined that reduces waste to a minimum. So again, non-invasive into nature. Yeah, so
Well, let me put it this. So according to the framework that we've pulled out, basically the only waste we're going to have, and that's something that's awfully out of our hands, and that's packaging.
Mm.
You have to get products to the facility, and in order to get products there, they do come in packaging. But I have a system in place to get rid of that packaging and put it in a place where it belongs.
Yes.
Not just send it to a landfill. But
yes.
I can promise you guys now, after having long discussion with the person who's very excited about cooking for everybody, that I can tell you, I hear those ideas and I've picked up 20 kilograms already.
Just by hearing.
Just by hearing about it. Well, if you think about it, Matthias, that meal you had that night that you were so happy with, I did all of that via instruction.
Yes.
So can you imagine if she does it herself?
Yeah.
It's gonna blow your socks off. But the point is that we're nearing absolute zero food waste.
Mm-hmm. Food waste in Africa, kind of throwing away food, is most likely the most stupid idea that you could have. Yeah. So we will definitely avoid that.
So food waste is down to pretty much a zero, and that's the reality. That's the reality. That's the planning in this.
Yeah.
In this thing. So yeah, it's a complete rework of how things are done. And there's one point that I want to bring up, Matthias, and that's the fact that we can offer guests something that I think very few places can.
Mm-hmm.
And that is flexibility.
Yeah.
Most accommodations and lodges run on a very tight schedule, and it's run like a ship. And if there's words I hate uttering to guests, it's the guys, we have to leave the sighting now because breakfast is almost ready. I mean, that's that's the absolute most horrible in the world, and I've heard it so many times. That, I mean, geez, I'm pretty sure that when you go on safari, the idea is to make the most. And unfortunately, folks, contrary to popular belief, we cannot schedule the lion kill so that it happens in a time convenient to your breakfast.
No.
So if it happens, we watch it, and we're set up in such a way that everything is adaptable.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you've got something that you want to experience, we're making provision for it. Everything from stargazing down to a night drive.
Yeah. Those are the things
which is very hard to come by. Which is very hard to come by in most.
Yeah.
Because contrary to popular belief, I just want to put this out there, because I can hear people saying, "But I've been on a night drive." No, coming back from your afternoon drive after the sun has set is not a night drive.
Nope.
A night drive is leaving for safari after dinner.
Yeah.
You started when it's dark and you end dark. You don't start it when it's still shining and you come back in the dark. Matthias has been with me a couple of times, and he can attest that there's a distinct difference to how it plays out on those two scenarios.
Believe me, you will see completely different animals, and you will see a lot of them.
Yeah, and also the feeling of being out in the bush in the dark is unmatchable. It cannot be paralleled. I mean, looking at a lion, I always say it's funny when you see a lion during the day. you go, oh, what a pretty cat. And when you see a lion looking at you out of the darkness, your first reaction is, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, even something like a rhino, seeing a rhino during the day is one thing, but to see that mass moving at night, and especially if you get it on a good night with moonlight, and it's just a different world out there. It's a different world. There's no way to put it.
No. But yeah, guys, I think what you now want to know is, okay, how do I sign up for this? And the cool thing is you can actually join us on this journey. We will start a Kickstarter campaign. And I'm going to show you a little bit of how this is working out. So this is our landing page. So I'll put the link down below, spiritofmadikwe.co. Here you will see, yeah, imagine a safari where you're not just a spectator, but a guardian of the wild. I think this is pretty much what we just discussed about. These are the things we spoke about. Why do we stand apart? What's the difference? Yeah, you see us debating over sunset.
I can't remember what we were debating there, but it looks like it was one hell of a conversation.
It was, yeah. I'm using my hands a lot, so yeah. I was very immersed in that discussion already. Here you see some of the ideas how we might want to set up the lodge. Solar powered, quiet electric, homemade cuisine. Yeah, and what we are saying, it's we are in it. We put our, how do we say it? We are into conservation. Yeah, it's
all our eggs are in the basket.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's really, and I mean it. 10% of the profits we will directly put into conservation projects. Again, I mean, honestly, if you're a best businessman and you do not invest in what your business is about, you will lose your business. And this is what we are doing here.
So on that point, I just like to point out something, Matthias. This is something that's very close to my heart. There's a lot of places out there that say they support conservation, but it's ironic that when you get to those places, after you've paid for your accommodation and you've now joined them on a safari, then you get the news that, oh, by the way, we run such and such a foundation for conservation. Would you like to contribute? So what happens to the money you just made off me from sleeping there for 7 nights and do all of that? So and that's where the catch lies, guys. With us, there's never going to be, okay, I'm not going to say never, because there might be something that is really important that we need help with, and we're not afraid to ask for help. As you can see, like I said, all our eggs are in the basket. Now we need the support to get this off the ground. But the thing is, we're not going to go to people and say, okay, so you've now stayed at our lodge. This is our lodge's foundation. Would you like to contribute for conservation? No.
Exactly.
The moment you walk through the doors, your contribution to conservation is done. It's made.
Yes.
If you want to get involved beyond that, it will always be welcome.
Yeah.
But rest assured that just by arriving, just by supporting us, you have already contributed to conservation. And I think one of the important things here, Matthias, is that we will be very transparent about, we've already discussed this at length, about what conservation causes we support, because we're not going to support one conservation organization. We're going to support whoever needs the support.
Yes.
And there's going to be 100% transparency to say, guys. So thank you for visiting. Your visit this month has contributed to this cause, and this is what you've done for them. And I just want to reiterate on that sentence, not what we've done for them, what you, the guest, has done for them.
Exactly.
Because without the guest, this would not be possible.
That's true. Yeah, and then obviously, as I said, you can subscribe here. You will get the latest updates. We will obviously also keep you updated through this channel on YouTube on what's going on. But within the next weeks actually, we will most likely go live with this whole thing, and then we are really excited. But up until then, really subscribe to that page, get the updates, get the latest updates, subscribe to that channel, YouTube to get further insights on immersive safari and maybe a little bit more details on the cuisine that we already established on, or some of the details there. Guys, most importantly is this is really about change. This is really about, if we want to change something in the industry, in the tourism industry, we need to start, and we want to take this challenge on us, and we need you to support us here. And yeah, we're really looking forward to your support. We're looking forward to your contributions, be it one way or the other. Obviously, any kind of comment will help us a lot. What you think about it, what would you think is missing, or any kind of idea.
Yeah, if there's somebody out there with an idea that they wanna shoot us, geez, please throw it our way. We'll see what we can do with it. You know, you might have a fantastic idea for something we've been boxing with unknowingly.
Yeah.
And you know, this can all help. So yeah, I just want to mention that we've already had expressions of interest from a few sources, and you know, the amazing thing is that the people that are already getting on board and helping is doing it in such a way that although you end up supporting this, doing this for conservation, our supporters so far has just made sure that you get a better experience at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Things that we never thought was possible. But we won't let all of that out of the bag yet. Some of that has to be
a bit later. Yeah. We need to have some more surprises still.
And Matthias, I'm sure at some point we'll discuss how people can get involved with the Kickstarter campaign.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this is a good start here. If you subscribe here, you get the updates, you get the notifications. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Subscribe to Spirit of Madikwe either on Facebook or on Instagram. So also there we will share updates. So yeah, we have several channels that you can get it, but I think the most important one is this one, because here you will get the greatest and latest updates on the Kickstarter and how you really can contribute one way or the other to that endeavor that we are going.
And I just want to add in, Matthias, I feel it's important to say this, you know, from your side and my side and everybody who's involved with this side, we've all put in everything we can. We are rolling the dice here. Like I said, we've got all our eggs in the basket. And we got to a point where we just realized we're going to need help to pull this off. And just like we're counting on the fact that people want to make a change.
Yeah.
So that's why we're coming and we're saying we need help. We can do it, but we need help.
Yes. And I think on this note, we will leave you to it. If you have questions, as I said, leave it at the comments or just subscribe. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for being open already to that change, and yeah, talking to you in the next episode.
Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate each and every viewer we have, and let's see if we can change the world.
Let's make the change.